Hello, lovely humans. My name is Emma and I am 100% codependent. Hello. It's very lovely to be here, and thank you so much, Rona, for asking me to do this. It's a real honour and a privilege. And I am just going to give one more shout out for the Coda Matters meeting, which is on the coda.org website, which starts at 7 o'clock UK time every Saturday evening, which is like this. It's a speaker series. So if you're a bit bored before this one's on, 2 hours before this one's on, come to our meeting. It's so lovely, as is this one. Promise 6. I've actually got some literature that I was going to share on the screen. I think I'm co-host, so I think I can do that. And then I was going to read it. 1 minute. One moment, callers. So, Promise 6. I learned to see myself as equal to others. My new and renewed relationships are all with equal partners. Ladder thinking is a hallmark of the disease of codependence. Most of us saw that the people around us as above us and to be obeyed, or beneath us and to be fixed or saved. In many of our relationships, we were dependent on the approval of others, and our relationships were automatically out of balance. Dependence on external approval meant that we would hand all of our power to anyone that asked for it, or seemed to ask for it, or might ask for it. Since nobody respects a doormat, our self-esteem plummeted. In other relationships, we may have seen the other person not as a person, but as the locus for problems we could solve. We reasoned that if we were such a mess, the noble thing to do, and we thought we were so very noble, was to step in and fix the problem for them. At first, they were often grateful, and we gained a temporary boost for our ego. But in solving their problems, we took control, or the illusion of control, of a swathe of the other person's life. We had to. We were much more qualified to be in charge than they were. If and when the other person realised how we viewed them, they may have been hurt or offended. In Coda, the 12 steps cultivate humility in us. Humility is not humiliation, but rather a proportionate and realistic view of ourselves with respect to others. We learn to identify, don't compare. The 12 traditions teach us that the only person responsible for solving another's problems is them. Tradition 7, we learn to see where we stop and where another person begins. Tradition 4, most of all, we learn that we are all equal. Tradition 2, without the pressure to jockey for position on an imaginary ladder, we are free to be ourselves. We learn to relate to others exactly where they are, and they do the same with us. So I see myself as equal to others. My new and renewed relationships are all with equal partners. So when I came to Coda, I was suicidal and homicidal, and the way that I wanted to kill myself with the substance. I'd had a lot of problems with substances, and I'd gone to another fellowship first, and I'm still in that substance fellowship. Against all advice, I also came to Coda because I was obsessing with the person that had caused my emotional rock bottom, and I couldn't share about that in my substance fellowship. So I came to Coda, and I mainly cried in most of the meetings that I went to, I'd say for quite a while, let's say. I'm prone to exaggeration, so let's try and keep it in the day. And this idea of one-upping myself and one-downing myself was something that I thought that was what people did. I didn't realise that was part of the disease, my disease of codependence. I was brought up in a family that was very dysfunctional. My dad's an untreated alcoholic, a sex addict, and a rageaholic, and my mum's definitely a codependent, I would say. Obviously, this is me saying what they are. When I grew up, it was that thing about, if I was told, it was that thing about two legs bad, four legs good. I'm big, you're small. This is what you think. If I didn't agree with what my father thought, then there was a manner of things that would happen to me, from humiliation to abuse to punishment to silence. You know, everything that I thought went through the lens of my father, who was like a dictator, really, more than anything else. And one of the ways that we as a family kept ourselves really isolated was this one up, one down. So, you know, like, we were cleverer than those people. You know, my grandparents were religious and my dad was an atheist. So those religious Christian people, they were stupid. You know, there was, in my family of origin, there was all manner of stuff, and which I then carried on to my children. You know, and I think, not only did it breed distrust, but it's that thing about, it's, you know, like, either people were to be obeyed, and the other thing that I would add to would be to be rebelled against, or we were going to fix them. You know, and my preferred thing about people who I think got more power than me is to rebel against them. You know, one of the things that happens if I turn my higher power into a human again, which I do when I'm sometimes in crisis, is that I rebel against my higher power and I don't want to connect to them, and I stop praying and I stop meditating. And this leads to just pain, really, these days. And, you know, that pain that I mentioned when I first came in, because I don't feel like it's talked about that codependence is a disease which is fatal. You know, it's like I tried to take my life many times before. And when I say that I came in and I was suicidal and homicidal, I mean it. You know, it was like I really, really, really needed a solution. And what I found here was a solution. But, what I found here was people who loved me before I could love myself, really. And I also found a higher power of my own understanding. So, yeah, to go back to the one-upping and one-downing and not thinking that I'm equal, you know, for me, the basis of my codependency is low self-esteem. So, you know, it's that thing about I'll try and grab. I am at best in my codependency, Karen from finance. So, you know, like, I'll tell you exactly how you've got it wrong. And I'll be like, do you not know who I am when I'm talking to people in phone companies or the gas and electricity? And at worst, I'm Attila the Hun. You know, I'm really controlling because I don't want anybody to see my low self-esteem and how bad my self-worth is. You know, when I perceive that somebody is above me, it's like they are my God. You know, like my dad was my God when I was a child, like my mum was my God when I was a child, and they were dysfunctional gods who didn't teach me how to nurture and nourish myself. And what I wanted to be was either that God, or I wanted you to be my God. So I wanted to be one down. You know, like, it is that thing about all of my partners. I thought that they were either better than me or worse than me. And I would alternate between those two things, because I think for me, my codependence is kind of like, I'm a lovely mixture of half perfectionist and half people pleaser, which is delicious. Anyway, sorry. The other thing is I'm quite sweary and I'm not very good at linear stories, so apologies. That's nearly 10 minutes. So, yeah, this thing of seeing myself as equal to others and my low self-esteem, you know, it really, really is that thing about, you know, I am a doormat, but I'm a doormat with teeth. You know, I'm kind of like, I will do what you want me to do, but I'll fucking let you know how I've done it for you, when I've done it for you, and exactly, you know, like what you should do for me because I've done that. So, you know, here we are, and all of my relationships are unequal. And that includes my relationship with my children, my work relationships. You know, one of my things that I really love about myself, and I laugh these days, I used to go into shame attacks about it, is that I really want to be an expert in a lot of things. And, you know, like even an expert in Coda, do you know what I mean? Like I'll get an A+ from somebody and I'll be God of Coda and it'll be amazing. And it's being great having this, you know, Rona asked me to do this a couple of months ago, and I am equal to others and all my new and renewed relationships are equal with partners, has really become quite a mantra for me these days, which has been lovely. And a lot of the spiritual experiences I've had over the last few months have been around, you know, really thinking about, you know, how I navigate and go through relationships and not be one up or one down with people, but to get off the ladder and to really start to be able to show people who I am. Which is difficult, do you know what I mean? Because again, you know, it's that thing, but every time I try and show somebody who I am, I believe that I recover a little bit of me, and that I also recover my self-esteem becomes into balance a bit more, you know. I start to stop thinking, and I have started to stop thinking as I've gone through the steps, that, you know, I no longer think that I'm the shit on the bottom of somebody's shoes or way better than them. It's like, it's a lot more, you know, I really enjoy the fact that I can see not only my vulnerability and humanity, but other people's vulnerability and humanity. And, you know, I'm just at the moment been working step 9, and that taking responsibility bit of it has been really difficult. Do you know what I mean? It really, really has. But I've just kept going because I know that my higher power loves me more than I can even imagine love is. And I want that for myself. I want to be freer than I am even now, which is why I carry on. Sorry, I feel like I'm wibbling now. What are we doing again? So yeah, my new and renewed relationships are all with equal partners. I can't say that this is 100% true for me. I can't say that I see myself as equal to all people right now. Not all the time. Do you know what I mean? I think that would be foolish. It's one of those things that some of the things about the promises is they help me to be aware of when I've got out of balance and when I need to put some more work in. And it's that thing about awareness is such a magical thing, because then we can do something about it, or I can do something about it. Sorry. I think, you know, my well-being used to be contingent on other people. You know, I either was blaming them for the way that my life was, or asking them to take responsibility for me. And I was doing that so I didn't have to feel my own feelings. These days, I'm much more able to feel my own feelings, and, you know, much more able to self-parent myself through those feelings, and to look after my inner children and my inner teenagers whilst I'm doing that. I don't do that perfectly either. But, you know, it's like when I go into shame attacks around not getting things perfect, or thinking that people don't like me, which for me is all part of that ladder thinking that I'm either better or worse than somebody. It's like I really am beginning to be able to, you know, to comfort myself and say it's okay to cry. It's okay to think that you're worse than these people. You know, I've heard some amazing chairs. I've been lucky enough to hear some amazing chairs. And, you know, having internal boundaries with myself around shame, because that's one of the ways that I really won down myself. You know, for me, my codependency is a disease of fear and shame. And it is really, really that thing that, you know, when I'm in a shame attack, when it, you know, it's lying to me, my head is lying to me. And these days I'm just kind of like, I'm not prepared to give shame that space in my life. I need to have boundaries with it, and I need to be like, you know, this isn't true. This isn't gonna take my life away anymore. I need to have freedom from this, and I need to talk to all the bits of me that feel that shame in order to get back into balance. And do you know what? It's like the other day I had a massive shame attack. I chaired a meeting. I got it complete. I didn't get it wrong, but it was difficult because it was the first time I'd done something. And I came home and I was really in my head kind of like, turning it over to my higher power. I was talking to my my littles, my teenager. I was trying to reassure everybody that it was all right and that we'd done an all right job. The meeting had gone ahead, it'd been all right. And the other thing that I did was I rang somebody up and I listened to them talk to me about what had gone on in their day. And you know what? All of a sudden, it was like I wasn't the only person in the world again. Because that's the thing, when I'm one-downing myself or one-upping myself and I can't see any equality, I can't see anybody else in the world. Do you know what I mean? I'm making up stories about who you are and, you know, what that person's doing. And I'm so in my own head. It's like there's no freedom. There's no, that, you know, I'm not in my body, I'm not present, and I'm not able to enjoy my life in any way, shape or form. I'm just in that dreadful feeling of inequality and shame. And fear that you'll all find out that I'm not a good enough codependent or not a bad enough codependent. You know, it's all kind of funny, really. Well, these days, I guess I can see it as funny. You know, sorry, my dog's about to kick off, everybody. She's called Betsy. She may not kick off. She's very well known in Coda Matters. I may have to shut my thing off and shout at her, obviously lovingly. Sorry. Oh, let me just stroke her. I am still really codependent with my dog. That's all I've got, really. Yeah. I think the thing for me about this is that once I get off this imaginary ladder that I've created, it's like I'm more able to be myself. And that's all I want, really. I came into Coda thinking that you were all going to teach me how to have, you know, an intimate sexual relationship that would last, that wouldn't explode like all of my relationships that had done. And you know what I actually have got since I've been here is the biggest gift of all. You know, I've got a relationship with myself, which is the most loving it's ever been in 54 years, and is only going to get more loving. I've got a relationship with a higher power who, you know, is always there for me, who is really, truly is not human. And, you know, it's like I can turn to at any time. It's like I've never, ever felt like I've got something I can turn to. I've never felt like there's something that's got my back. And, you know, I forget that some days, you know, when life gets really lifey and I'm kind of like, what am I going to do? And totally in my own head, it's like, yeah, I you know, my codependence comes up, it still does. But, you know, through the process of the steps and using the traditions, sorry about Betsy, you know, particularly tradition 2, I'm going to have to let her out. 1 minute calls. Hello, me again. You know, tradition 2 is such an amazing tradition. You know, like it is that thing for me. What tradition 2 means for me is that I have been given my life. I've been gifted this life, and I'm the trusted servant of it. And my higher power has gifted it to me. And what am I going to do with it? You know, am I going to, you know, it's like the most important thing for me is to continue to develop a really, really healthy and loving relationship with myself, and to see you know, like to be able to see myself as equal to all others is an amazing thing. To not live in self-pity, victim and martyr, which is what I lived most of my life in, is like a fucking miracle. It really is. I'm really grateful to Coda. I've been gifted loads and loads of really, really lovely people who I am making and have made relationships with. I've had some amazing co-sponsors. I've had some amazing sponsors. And the main place, and I'll end on this because it's nearly 20 minutes, the main place where I've learned that I'm equal to others, and I see that all of my new and renewed relationships that I'm developing is in service. You know, I've learned so much in every committee that I've been in Coda. It's not all been good. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if I put myself in those relationships, because we've got a frame, because there's a framework, because there is the traditions, because there is the steps, it's like, there's kind of like rules that mean that, you know, like, the principles held within the program protect everybody else from my personality is all I've got, really. You know, I've learned to listen to people in a way that I couldn't. I've learned not to give advice to people, although, you know, I fucking love a bit of advice. It's like, nom, 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 nom. Can I tell that person what to do? But generally, if I'm controlling in service positions, it's like, it just goes to shit, really. The whole thing just falls apart. And, you know, I end up in a shame attack. You know, in Coda, it seems like especially in Coda Matters, we're always looking for people to be of service. And, you know, when I first came in, I thought, I've been caretaking for people so much, I can't be of service. But, you know, I've learned, I can't even tell you how much I've learned through service. You know, it's like, people have been so accepting of me when I've made mistakes, more accepting than I've been of myself. And it's shown me, you know, like, what equality really means. Anyway, I feel like I'm blathering. Thank you for all bearing with me with my dog. It's really lovely to be here. And I'm really looking forward to hearing everybody's shares. Thank you for listening to me.